amendment you would like to?
We are live.
We are live. We are back. It's Senate Finance. We are still waiting for our drafters. Our joint fiscal people are back, but drafters are still working, and I think we just sent them one line change in the effective date, so that may take them a few more minutes. Senator McDonald?
Does anyone have a copy of this, Kirby?
Yeah.
Yes. Kirby.
I have one.
Zane.
Kirby, the other guy.
I passed them that way.
Yeah.
And they're on the committee page.
And
If you want to.
the sponsor on it is the person who cashes my checks when I'm not looking. MC DONALD.
So there's a copy of this going around with it?
It's on the committee page, just paper copy.
It's a 3-pager, but what I'm proposing is on the front page. This is for property transfer tax administered the way it's administered today. That taxes the homes that the structures that it taxes today. And it changes the percentage that is collected. And it starts on line 9, which the $450,000 home is taxed the way it's always been taxed. And from that point on, every time it gains $50,000 in sale price, 0.25% is added to the property transfer tax for the next $50,000 until you get to $800,000. I picked the $450,000 as a starting point. Senator Cummings said at the end of her road, the property sold for $450.
460.
460. And there seemed to be and that's where I started. And it adds value, the more expensive the property is compared to transfer. Last election, I had a new district that I never campaigned in before. And I used the opportunity to ask many more questions every time I knocked on the door about that were personal. Why, how long have you lived in Bradford? Why did you move here? What have you learned since being here? And sometimes people say, why are you asking me these questions? I said, I don't know the people in Bradford, and if I'm gonna represent them, I want to know their history. And I was absolutely astounded at what I learned. When I became ill, several senators went down and graciously knocked on doors on my behalf. And so they had a smattering of what's going on in Bradford, the community. But we have an affordability problem for working Vermonters. I said unaffordability problem. And at the same time, we have very affordable houses for people that want to move here from elsewhere and to buy one. And I was astounded at the number of people who come from afar to buy houses. And the reasons they gave were where we live in the Southwest, the various states, we're running out of water, and the Northwest and the West, their fires, insurance rates are up. And we thought we want to come to Vermont because, what we've read about its resilience and in the global warming thing. They left places like Texas and Florida because they didn't like the political atmosphere. And those were the reasons that they came. And the number of them that said they bought houses sight unseen was got up into double digits, and that was surprising. That was just a lot for going door to door. And finally, I forgot to find it. Those people that came here bought houses that were practically new, 10 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old, or older. And that's the housing stock that Vermonters used to buy. There was a starter home. And that's what they used to buy, and they are being outbid. For homes of these values, above the $500,000, and it contributes to our housing crisis for the folks that have been living here. Can't compete with people that are buying houses in Vermont, on the Connecticut River Valley. In some cases, because it was cheaper than Thetford. Certainly cheaper than Stratford. And if the purpose is to raise money. When the commissioner was here, he said if you raise the cost of buying a house. That it threatens them, maybe it's likely that they won't sell as well. I'm trying to quote what his share is, and that if people don't buy it as frequently because it's more expensive, the price may drop a little bit. So I thought it was a useful way to raise money to meet the same need that our colleague on the committee said Rand Hinsdale was trying to raise money. But I thought this would tie into our affordability issues and be a positive way to raise more money without being complex. And having to make definitions about first homes and second homes, and whether it's a deer camp or a trapper's camp or a winter.
Right,
So it's my best effort.
Okay.
I'm not wed to any of the
Question.
numbers, but more the concept than anything else.
What is, the other construct? Can you just compare and contrast the other construct with this one in terms of like total funds raised?
The grafters. Was Curry here?
he was just here.
My suggestion was that it raised the same amount of money as we're being asked to raise. Or a tad more to make it come out even, and that was the construct we came up with of these rates at these levels. And there were people on the committee and JFO people that might suggest something that was use the same format. It was to achieve the same goals with slightly different numbers, which is fine. But this is a model that I think would be useful to deal with affordable housing or
I can't,
unaffordable housing.
but the people you talked to that came from Texas, are they living here,
Yes,
working here, paying taxes here?
these were all people who said I often registered them to vote.
Yeah.
They said they already registered to vote.
Okay,
They moved here to
so,
live.
okay.
Yes.
And so you want to tax them more so they won't move here to live?
I'm too late to do that. They moved here,
Okay, you
years
want to
ago.
raise the taxes so more people won't move here to live?
No, if they're welcome to move here to live, and Madam Chair, as we know, thank you for reminding me of one of the other things. One of the things they do when they get here and they buy a house and they're coming, is they go out and look for a contractor to fix this, and this.
Yeah,
And those contractors are local. And they're the same contractors that no longer work for people who live here because they're outbid by the people who move in and buy the houses.
perhaps you can tell me at what point you become a Vermonter. I've been told 4 generations in the ground.
Two.
I now have 1 generation in the ground. I've been here 50 years. At what point do I become a Vermonter and you're gonna protect me? If these people,
Excellent question, Madam Chair. I'm crazy, but I'm not stupid. And I have said that's one of the questions that no matter what you say, people that disagree with you, so I don't answer it. But if they ask me if I'm a Vermonter, I tell them Then I arrived and I lived to the house I live in now by horse-drawn sled in 1947. And that horses' names were Pat and Jim, and I can take that for the next 5 minutes, but I won't.
But I think legally you become a Vermonter when you choose this as your primary residence. You rent an apartment, you buy a home, you go to work, you hire contractors and contribute to the economy. I'm having trouble understanding why we would want it harder. If we make it more expensive, they'll just buy cheaper homes, which would probably impact real Vermonters more.
Madam Chair, people are coming here and they're
Yes,
buying homes
yes,
and they think it's a good deal. And the first thing they do is they hire people who modify, improve, and refit homes.
yeah.
And they pay more to have that done than the people who currently live here. So this, they've got money and resources.
And we want to discourage them from coming here.
No.
I think, do they have children?
Oh, at least Ruckus, they how many they do, but
Okay.
generally,
Now we got kids going in
generally-
our school, we really don't want that.
generally they don't. I was surprised to come in and take kids.
Okay, Senator Brett.
Well, one, I was going back to 50, for making the place too attractive. Two, so on the numbers, so if the way that, I just wanna make sure I understand it. First 100,000 on the price of the home, you're at 5.5%,
Current law, I believe.
and then you jump to the schedule above, and it's
That is
1.25% from 100,000 to up to 450.
Yeah,
And then you-
450 is the chair's
That's what you said.
street down to the end of her road.
Oh. Okay, and then,
I think 450 might be closer to the average price of the home. I don't think homes are. 8 years ago, they were cheaper here than some other places. I'm not sure that's true anymore. They're not cheap.
Madam Chair, I said if anybody wants to change the scale a little bit, this is a concept. But I think this one would work.
So the last part of the question is, what does this generate, roughly compared to the house, of the construct we've been talking about?
I believe Ted did do some estimate for this.
For the record, Ted Barnett, Joint Fiscal Office, this number is using an August 1 effective date, understanding that this proposal might have a little more time to boot up and be programmed in
When we
VCAX.
get to the amendment, we'll explain that.
Yes, exactly. This proposal would generate approximately 15 million in fiscal year 25 with the first year implementation. Most of that revenue would be coming from the 3.25% rate on the highest
And-
marginal value. The kind of incremental piece in between is a much smaller piece.
Okay,
Is that people buying those, rich people buying the houses that expensive?
so I'll take it.
Yeah,
All right,
pretty good.
we have, was that a motion, Senator?
Pardon? I would move to substitute this as a section of our colleagues' bill that deals with the property transfer tax.
All right. I'm having a hard time figuring out how we're not raising a whole lot more money on this, couple of million.
You would have to ask the.
Yeah,
Here's
now,
the other.
I've got a motion. Is there any further discussion?
Just curious, is this gonna be the highest property transfer tax rate in the nation at this point?
Does anyone know?
I don't know which states are.
The realtors might have a net, and just introduce yourself.
Okay, hi, Peter Tucker, Vermont Association of Realtors. The highest property transfer tax on a purchaser in the country right now is 2.2% in Delaware. Maryland, Delaware, I believe. So, you know, even at 1.45%, our current rate is like third in the country. And I just, if I can, average home sale price, in Vermont in 2023 is 400, well, in our MLS system, okay,
Yeah.
so not all sales, 480, 719.
Okay,
That's average.
I don't disagree. I mean,
Yeah.
one of the fascinating things about it is when you look at the United Van Lines where they move people to and from. And United Van Lines tends to look at people that are high end, that hire the van, and everybody to load it and unload it. Instead of you whole trailer arrivals. That Vermont is the number one destination for people that use, I say number one destination. We are the highest percentage of people moving in using United Van Lines that are the 50 states. And this taxation thing here doesn't change at the beginning level of for 450,000. Yet we are the number one destination for folks moving in United Van Lines as a percentage of our population and the percentage of people that move here. They seem to be undeterred by the statistic of being
there's only one problem. I see hordes of United Van Lines dumping people here, but our population isn't increasing. If all these people are moving here and buying up our houses, then why don't we have a second US representative yet? We've been on.
some of us are dying faster and
Well-
the others are saying, I've already. The ladies are saying, I've already contributed what I'm gonna contribute, and that don't ask me.
We have the lowest, no, Maine has a lower birth rate,
Perfect.
yes. So,
Just to confirm, this would apply to all purchases, including
Yes.
multifamily houses. This is not just second homes, and your estimate too was not just on second homes. This was just on all.
This is commercial, everything.
Everything, yes.
and that would do all the low income housing we're building?
So-
All the affordable housing we're putting up would be subject to this tax?
I'm not sure how the
Well, this they don't sell that, do they? They don't sell it, but if, usually it's run by the organization that develops it, but if they did sell it, it would be taxed.
If you were to flip a home after having it built, whether you built it for
Yeah.
low income or whatever,
Oh.
you would pay
Okay.
this, but someone would have to buy it. In order to
I'm-
be taxed.
Is there any further discussion? Senator McCormick?
Mark, you and I are good buddies. But I've gotta say. I'm retired. If I were running for the election, the last thing in the world I would want. Is to go out and say to myself, reelect me, I voted to raise property taxes.
Doesn't raise the property tax.
This is a property tax, it's a kind of property, it's a tax number.
All right, any further discussion?
And we're illuminate sunshine as well.
If not, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no.
No.
I am calling that 106.
Pretty good call. Roger.
We are here. Yes, that's 160. Okay, it's late. All right. So Kirby, we sent you out to draft the amendment. Oh, Ted, did you get a new fiscal note on if we leave out seasonal housing?
I did do some analysis, so
Okay,
for the record, for Joint Fiscal Office, I'm more than happy to give you the broad strokes of it in this moment.
yes.
With the heavy caveat that, as the commissioner said, these categories are informational.
Yes.
So looking at the data, it would exempting the pieces that are categorized as seasonal on the grand list that are also marked as 0 to secondary residences on the property transfer tax forms. It would be about $1 million of revenue that you would lose compared, yes.
Out of 12, so we're down to 11.
I would say that I would want to confer with folks to make sure that's the right kind of I have the right category, because there's a lot of information in the other category in the property transfer tax forms that people are listening, it's a camp, it's a camp, so
By the
I want
time
to
this
clarify that.
goes to a pros, because they're gonna have to confirm the appropriations, you can tighten up that number and then they can adjust the appropriations. I think to make them a lot.
Yes, I will spend more time on this just to make sure.
Yes, I
A
don't,
million
I
is the
don't
first draft.
expect 100% accuracy in 5:30 on Friday. When we're changing every 30 seconds. Kirby, did you
Oh.
get the message about, okay. That committee, this is putting the property transfer, we have the date as July 1st. The commissioner got thinking about it and said, well, if this passed today, and got to the governor and got signed, he probably could do it, but the chance that that's gonna happen, I think there's gonna be a committee of conference. He talked to us, yeah, they need 8 weeks to set up the computer, so the yeah, the date has been changed to August 1st, which gives them time to make the necessary changes in their computer system. So Kirby,
Which is the, to the appropriation.
yes,
Yes.
appropriations,
In the height of the selling market, but we understand that that's still very,
June is
Easy
the
to
largest selling market
Yeah.
of the year. Unless that's changed, but it used to be. Okay, so. We are working, this is our amendments to the amendment that was brought to us. So Kirby.
Okay, so these are the changes we made to the proposed amendment. I included section 73 in the amendment, which was not there before. And then
What is,
section 73 is the property transfer tax section
okay,
that from the underlying report.
That
That's all.
helps to have it in here.
And it's in there now, and we changed subdivision A4 to read as just being now. Tax shall be imposed at the rate of 2.5% of the value of the property transferred with respect to transfers of residential property that is fit for habitation on a year-round basis. What John and I came up with there will not be used as a principal residence of the transferee, and for which the transferee will not be required to provide a landlord certificate. And I accidentally left a comment in there. This obviously did not go to editing, but we'll fix that at some point.
All right,
So second home,
yes, that
Okay, but
is,
not a,
that is habitable year round.
not a,
You got outside plumbing and your water, drinking water is coming from the lake.
I would just flag that. I'm assuming the commissioner would say they're not in the business of going out and inspecting buildings for whether they're can be habitable year round. So about, whether that can be enforced
Well,
compliance wise is a different
This
question.
is, when you're at closing, you have a pretty good idea. The information as to what you're buying is right there on the table. It's gonna tell you if it's got plumbing, if it's what kind of heat, if any, it's got what kind of septic system, if any, it's got, that information will be most available at closing, which is when this tax will be assessed. So
That's,
yes, you could say I'm gonna live in my ice shanty year round, but probably not.
Another thing I would note is there was discussion about mixed use property.
Yeah,
Because one of these qualifiers is residential property. My reading would be that if it's mixed use, if it's say an apartment with a store under it. That the 2.5% rate would not
okay.
apply.
and that's our intent.
Yeah.
Even if the apartment over the store
And they
would
rent out the
otherwise
other
qualify
apartment.
as a second home.
Yeah,
It would not pay this rate though.
okay. And they live in one, they rent out the two other, to the other units, the short-term rental.
Or if they leave it vacant for whenever they drop in on their store in Vermont.
Oh, so if it's a second home,
If it's a second home, they will not pay this 2.5% rate is my reading because it would not be,
Second home, they would.
the property would not be a residential property
oh,
Because of the commercial.
because it's mixed use.
okay. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. We're on record.
Okay. I don't, yeah, I'm lost.
It's something that could be dealt with legislation or regulations later, maybe.
Not that I'm really gonna, but I just wanna absorb, you're saying if it's a non-primary residence above a commercial property, it's not paying this?
Yeah, because the 2.5% applies if it meets all of these different requirements.
Okay.
One of the requirements is residential property,
I see
so
what
right
you're
off the
saying.
bat, it's not a residential property.
Okay, okay.
All right. And I,
I'm looking at 10, like, to
I own it.
change a whole lot, I don't
I
think
lease
so,
the store.
okay.
Yeah, we did, on advice from the tax department, pull out the GL codes that refer to commercial within those 02s.
Okay.
So we did try and account for
Okay,
that
so
a
that was
bit.
already, okay.
Commissioner,
Can I just ask one clarifier on that as well? I
Yeah.
think I've heard intent is 4 residential property, 4 units. 1 is a long-term rental or a homestead and 3 are short-term rentals. The 2.5% does not apply. That's the intention.
Kirby, that is your understanding?
If it's residential, let's say it is residential, it's fit for habitation year round. It's not the principal residence of the transferee, but one of the units is long-term, which is what I just heard.
Yeah.
That means that the transferee would be required to provide a landlord certificate, so the 2.5% would not apply.
Okay,
It's just so the word only appears after residential in A. Residential only. Anyway,
If people abuse the system, we can adjust in years to come.
One more thing.
To get clear, this is for the property transfer tax.
Yes,
Yes.
In subsequent years, we already tax a second home differently than a residence.
no, we do not.
Well.
Well, we do, they're non-homestead.
They're
We
commercial.
used to charge them as a higher rate. No, they're not commercial, they're homestead, they're residential properties. We used to set, no, it's not a homestead.
Right.
So they pay the non-homestead property rate tax, which I think over a decade ago, maybe more, we set the non-homestead property rate higher. And it was a fixed rate. The complaint was, I'm paying the school and I don't get to vote on the school budget. So we separated all commercial and non-homestead properties. They used to pay a higher rate. Now in many towns, that rate's gotten lower, and I'm gonna see what it would take to switch that.
That is a problem, but it's a different problem.
It is a different model. Okay, let's go. I'm out of here at 6. I'd like to beat that.
The fourth instance of the amendment, we have an effective date change, but it has a,
Okay, so we,
okay. So here's the effective date for, but previously we had removed an effective date anyway, so I just changed the way that was worded.
okay,
So we were removing the subdivision 6, which was already there in the proposed
Yeah.
amendment. And instead, we're inserting a new 6, which is,
Line
August
3 is
1.
a typo, effectives, should be effective, shouldn't it? Effective dates, not effectives.
not effective dates. Good point.
the editors haven't gotten this, right?
They have not gotten it, and you're seeing how valuable they are.
You're doing a lot better than I would at this speed. The typos would be worse. All right, it's effective date,
Yep,
okay.
It will go through editing before the board.
Okay, and you did these as separate. You didn't do a strike all, you did 4 separate, okay,
Mhm.
amendments. So what I need is a motion.
We're not done with those
Well, we're
changes.
not done. Oh, the
Uh,
effective date wasn't,
No, no, the effective date was in the middle, it's just chaos today.
I don't think I've ever done that.
92.
The property freeze is what I was gonna do next. Which. Do it. Just look for Franklin County.
Ah, you're looking for an answer, there it is.
So, under the property freeze exemption. We've added to located in the disaster area or located in Addison or Franklin County. And then there's a couple more changes that, and John, if you want, you can just say them, I can pull them up.
Yeah, sure. John Gray, Office of Legislative Counsel. If you just search section 92. So you're not gonna see something here because what's been done is removal of former section 92, which was the accessibility piece for state funded residential construction. The next piece will be at the very end of the document. This refers to section 99, which is the confidentiality disclosures of the landlord certificate to move from mandatory to discretionary disclosure. Scroll up just a little bit, and you'll see, yep, subsection E. This is the relevant discretionary language, and then the underlying language below is the relevant text. This largely matches what was in the last, and this was consistent essentially with the concept that was in the previous. It just moves it from mandatory to discretionary.
Senator Gray.
If there are no further questions, I would move that we amend draft 4.1 with draft 5.1. And draft 5.1 is 4/26/24. And I think 507.
Can you not just vote on 5.1? We never announced.
It has to be gradual. We have to amend it, then we will amend the
Where
main bill
later.
with this as amended.
Alright.
Okay, so Senator Gray has moved
5:07 p.m.
that, yes, that we amend the draft 4.1 of H67 with draft 5.1 dated 5:07 this evening. That's what we have just been through.
Just cut spending by 60 million, so you can vote for it.
And then later.
We haven't taken that appropriation out, but we're leaving that for approach to have fun. Because I don't know what we're doing if we take it out. It really isn't our bailiwick. Okay, I have a motion. Do I have any further discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Okay, we have, that is 6-1-0. Got that one right. Okay, you've got the next one?
I would move that we amend draft 4.1 of H687 dated 4/17/24, 5:02 p.m. with draft 4.1 dated 4/24/24, 4:09 p.m. as so amended.
It's amended. Okay, Senator Gray has moved that we amend the main bill, draft 4.1 of H867. I believe the one I have is dated 3:20 p.m. on the 17th. That we amend it with draft number 4.1 of H867. I have the other one as amended. So we are attaching this with the amendments we just put on it to this. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Am I hearing 7 or 6? I'm
Seven.
hearing 700. I think that's no. Then we have to approve
Oh,
Then,
Report favorably as.
as
so
amended.
then we would, then we need to, report favorably, so I would move that Senate Finance report favorably H 687, draft 4.1, 41724, understand 503 PM, as amended by finance.
Senator Bray has moved what he just said, that we approve H 687 as amended. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. I'm hearing 700. Who would like to report this bill? Senator Hinsdale,
Okay,
since you're the
yeah.
author, I'm gonna have you do it. Cause I don't think anybody else in this committee, or maybe Senator Bray could report the entire